yeah, yeah. And I've been hearing a few people talk about it.
This is a quick video I'm doing at night. It's not very great light in the kitchen at night. But I'm on Dstar at the moment. I'm just listening to a guy in California, USA. Show you the little hand radio I got there. Let's turn it up and have a listen. I'm going to give him a call in a minute.
I can't do it tonight. I'm going to be with the SO tonight, so and then I have company over tomorrow, so possibly Thursday I'll sit down and update the firmware and see what it does. Yeah, I wonder if that's just luck of the draw on your internet connection or if it's something in the software. So, okay. Something else, by the way, just to put away in the back of your mind in those moments of nothing else to do. Since we have the meeting coming up in January, one of the things that I'm thinking about is I'd like to lay out a bit of a calendar of events, and there's a few things that are always on the calendar, like field day and stuff. And I'm thinking we need to do some more operating events during the year. And, you know, I don't want to make it a big, busy calendar that nobody shows up to, so I want to pick and choose things kind of judiciously. But except for field day, we really don't have any other operating events, so it'd be kind of nice to do one or two at a time at some point during the year. Anyway, think about that. Let me know if you have any ideas. Yeah, that sounds good to me. The more the merrier for me. Oops. Okay, fingers slipped off the PTT there. I can usually make time. I think that'll be great. I'll definitely keep that in mind as well. We might have to think about scheduling after this whole El Nino thing blows over.
I'm going to give him a call in a minute.
So,
just a very quick call before I go to bed.
Hopefully the weather won't be too bad. Which actually brings up a good point of talking about like disaster preparedness and things like that. So
have you seen I've got my cappuccino there? My nightcap.
Keep in mind, and I'll shoot you an email. All right, George. Well, thanks so much. I'll free up the repeater and the reflector here, and go make some quick dinner. Jason, that's Jason. Sorry. Okay, Jason. I'll let you go. I've got a torturous commute in front of me, and the traffic is lousy tonight. So anyway, I'll be listening around here on 1C and also on analog. Catch you later. K6DG and KJ6VU. All right, talk to you later. KJ6VU from K6DGN. I'll be monitoring.
Let's give him a call. Germany 0 Sierra Echo Charlie.
G0SEC Kilo Juliet 6 Victor Uniform. Name is George. Go ahead.
Yeah, hi George. Was I correct in thinking that circuit's for the ID51, a USB to the power input, or did I get that wrong? Go ahead.
That was my understanding. Jason is the guy that came up with it, who I just talked to. But it sounds like it, so it must be a little step-up boost regulator of some kind.
Yeah, fine, George. I'll be very interested in that. Very. I'm just. I hope you don't mind. I'm YouTubing the video at the moment. I just sat here with the a nightcap cappuccino before I go to bed. I've got a friend that I'm trying to get onto Dstar, and I've got a younger brother that's thinking about getting on Dstar. So I thought I'd just do a YouTube video, have a quick contact while I do it. So I hope you don't mind me. I'm going to put it on YouTube later. I'll contact here. If you go to my YouTube channel, just type in G0SEC, you'll probably find it in one of my videos if you ever want to see it. So I hope you don't mind. The name was James, QTH is Weymouth and Dorset on the southwest coast. But a bit of a windy day today. We've got very strong winds here at the moment. Anyway, I'll put it back to you, George, from G0SEC. Go ahead.
Well, very good, James. Thank you. I'll check that out. Hopefully I can remember your call sign while I'm driving here in the traffic. But SEC shouldn't be too bad to remember. I will take a look. And it's been a while since I've been over in the UK. Well, actually, that's not true. I flew through the UK on the way to Germany about a month ago. But before then, I haven't really had a chance to spend any time there for about the last 2 years, and I sort of miss it. Usually wind up going to Europe on business trips here and there, and always wind up with some time in the UK, particularly in London, but haven't been there for a bit. Probably the closest I've been to where you are, and I'm not sure if I have my geography correct, but some years ago we drove out to Bath, which I think is west and south of London, if I get that right. Is that correct? Over to you, James.
Yeah, Bath is about 50 miles away from me. 50, 60 miles, something like that. So, I'm right by the sea here in Weymouth. Weymouth is a seaside resort. Very popular in the summer and not so popular in the winter. It's been really nasty lately. We've had some really horrible rain and wind, strong winds. We've got this sort of hurricane blowing over us at the moment. I think it's a mellowed down hurricane from the Atlantic Ocean waving its way in. It's a little bit lighter than it was, and it's always a worry when you've got a bit of an antenna farm in the garden sort of thing, as I have. And but I think it's passing now. I'll be interested to know whereabouts you are. I hear that you're mobile. I guess you're driving home somewhere. And I'll put it back to you, mate. G0SEC. Go ahead.
Okay, very good. I will answer your question in a minute. Jason, go ahead. I heard you in there. KJ6B.
Hey, thanks for handing it over. Yeah, G0SEC, this is K6TGN. Yeah, I had this quick idea about a way to basically charge, because I carry around a USB charger for my cell phone and my tablet and stuff like that. And I'm like, man, wouldn't it be great if I had some little device where I could take USB power and then step it up to 5 volts so it's enough power to charge my ID51. And so I found a little board. I did a little bit of experimenting and research and reading about step-up transformers and things like that. And I found one that seemed like it was good, and I just put it all together tonight, and it works wonderfully. So if you have something to write with, I'll give you my email address, and anybody else who happens to be listening with a pen who wants this info, I'll give you my email address, and
just getting a pen.
I'll send you a link to the little circuit that I found. I'm not a geek or anything, but I found a little circuit that I used, and I can send you a link to that and some photos and stuff.
Yeah, go ahead with the email address. I'll write it down. Go ahead.
Roger that. It's J.A. Howard. That's Juliet Alpha Hotel Oscar Whiskey Alpha Romeo Delta, I think. Did I get that right? J.A. Howard at Outlook.com. J.A. Howard at Outlook.com. Yeah, just shoot me an email, remind me who you are, and I'll send you some photos and links to where I got the circuit, and you can build one. I made one with a display that shows how much power is going through it, and I'm going to make a little tiny mini one that'll be in my backpack for everyday use.
Yeah, that sounds really good. I'll do that. I'll probably give you I'll drop you an email tomorrow, and I'll definitely do that. I've got it wrote down here. It's jahoward at outlook.com, and I'll be interested to know that. And it's something I've always wanted to do. Actually, I got the charger, the slot-in charger for my ID51. It'd be just really handy to plug it into a USB port, you know, like the laptop or something. That would be really handy. And so I'm surprised they don't actually do one. All the accessories you can get, it's surprising. But, I wonder where you are. I think you've heard before, I'm in Weymouth, Dorset on the southwest coast. A very windy, nasty, wet day. Nothing special. Not as nice as where George is in California. I think it's in California anyway. Now I'll put it back to you, and then you can put it back to George from G0SEC.
Yeah, no problem at all. And I was looking at your YouTube video. If you end up making a YouTube video on this, I think that would be awesome. Feel free to, shoot me a mention if you make a video on it. That would be awesome. You don't have to, but I would appreciate it. And yeah, I agree. It would be something that would be really handy to have, and that's why I decided, man, I want to make one because I've got this little cheapy little 2-watt Valfung that charges via USB, and that was my everyday radio just to keep in the bag. But it's this little super cheapy weaky radio, so you know, my ID51 I keep in my bag every day. It's expensive, but I take really good care of it and keep a close eye on it. And it would just be really nice to, you know, for extended stays. The circuit draws about 1 amp at 5 volts, and theoretically can put out about 500 milliamps at 12 volts. So, or something along those lines. I'd have to sit down and do the math again, but I wrote it down. All right, thanks again. It was a pleasure to chat with you. I'm also here in California. I live about 45 minutes north of George, here in the San Francisco Bay Area. So we're looking forward to a very wet winter. We really need it. Again, it was great talking to you there. G0SEC from K6 DGN. I'll be going clear, and I'll hand it back over to George.
Thanks, Jason. And yeah, I look forward to seeing that. That sounds like a really useful thing. I could really use it because I've got a bunch of these 5-volt batteries for charging phones and pads like you're describing. And so having that be able to step up and charge the HT is a great idea. I've often thought for HF Portable, it'd be nice to be able to take these 5-volt batteries that are you find really cheap at times and series them up and use them for an HF rig. But charging might be a little weird unless you break them apart and charge them individually. Anyway, but that's another thought down the same line. Catch you later, K6DGN, KJ6View. And James, as Jason mentioned, I'm in the San Francisco Bay Area. Also, I'm at the southern end of the Bay Area. I am currently in Santa Clara and heading into San Jose, which you can't tell the difference. It just turns from one continent to the next. It's all the same thing. And this is the heart of the middle of Silicon Valley. So the traffic stinks, which basically is a really good thing because it tells you that the jobs are plentiful and there's a lot of people on the road and commute at this time of night. So it's a blessing and a curse at the same time. So much as I don't like driving it, it sure beats the alternative if you think about it. So anyway, back over to you, James, KJ6V.
Yeah, fine, George. G0SEC. And all very interesting. And yeah, it's a lot warmer there than it is here, probably. And it's funny, you're really clear, nice and clear, you know, just armchair copy. Sound like you're in the same room as me. You'd never think you're thousands of miles away. So it's a nice clear audio you got there. Just quickly before I dash, be interested to know what you're using there. You might have mentioned it. I'm using the ID51 and using a dvap at the moment, but I've got a DV Mega on the way. I should have that in the post tomorrow. And using a Raspberry Pi into the little mini router that I've got here. I'm sort of trying it out. I bought it today. It's called an Osprey 2 Mini, and it gives you access on the 3G, 4G network. It's using 4G plus actually. It's about 66 meg speed, and it's a pretty good connection. And that's when I'm out and about driving in the car and stuff. So I'm very pleased with it. Tiny little gadget that it's about 2 inches square by about 10 millimeters thickness. I just put it on the dash, and that's my hotspot. So it saves me having to keep charging up the phone and creating a hotspot on the phone. Anyway, over to you, mate, and I'll make it my final from G0SEC. Go ahead.
Well, very good, James. Thanks. Very similar setup here in the car. I've got a Raspberry Pi with a 4G LTE cell phone modem plugged in and a dvap. And the radio that I'm using is an ID31, so it's the UHF only version of the portable radio, and I use that as my daily carry-around radio. I've got the ID51 also, which I like for travel because it's got 2 meters, but mostly when I'm in and around home and work, I carry just the UHF radio. It's slightly smaller, and I had it before I had the ID51, so I wouldn't have gotten this radio if I had the 51, but already had it, so it's sort of my knock-around daily radio. And it works great. I'm very happy with it. In the car, I plug into a amplified speaker, so it's easy to hear it on the receive side. We also have a Dstar repeater on the hill, which I could get into. The repeater that Jason's talking into is at about 2,800 feet above the valley, so it's got excellent coverage from south of Silicon Valley up to north of the Golden Gate Bridge. So we cover quite a bit of area with that repeater. But I like running off the hotspot because I could let the folks who just have a mobile radio use the repeater if they want to change reflectors or whatnot, and I could do whatever I like in the car and not get in their way. So it all works just fine. So yeah, thanks for the comments. You sound fabulous, of course, over on this side. And I know you need to go. I'll let you run. I am sort of curious what you have for HF antennas. You said it sounds like you have quite a little farm there. So I was curious what you have set up. It is 59 degrees Fahrenheit right now over here. So it's for us, it's starting to get chilly. So I'll back over to you for the last time there, James. G0SEC KJ6VU.
Yeah, fine, George. G0SEC returning to you. Well, I've got a nice shack actually. If you look me up on QRZ under my call sign G0 Sierra Echo Charlie, you'll see my station and antennas. But my main radio is an icom 7800. I got a Kenwood 950 SDX, and I got a little Yaesu FT847, which I mainly use for VHF and UHF. And the tower is an 80-foot heavy duty Eltron tower. And I suppose that the top height to the Force 12 antenna is the HF beam is about 88 feet. I got a couple of antennas above that as well. And I got a poorly antenna at the moment. Actually, the collinear on the very top for VHF and UHF is definitely very high SWR on it. So I think some water's got in there. Might have to replace that antenna after the winter, something like that. I don't use it as much now, obviously, because of Dstar, so I'm not usually on UHF and VHF FM a lot. I just use Dstar really nowadays. We've got a couple of local repeaters here, which is nice to keep in touch with the locals. And but I really do like Dstar. I think it's a great addition to the hobby. It's just nice and convenient, isn't it? You know, here I am speaking in my kitchen on a little handy, and speaking to you. You're in California, I'm in England. I can do that while I'm driving down the road and wherever I am. It's just so convenient and a great addition to the hobby. So I really have had some great fun on it, and I've met some great people, and it's so good for keeping in contact with your friends on ham radio that you wouldn't you wouldn't actually be able to get hold of unless the conditions were really good. But yeah, I've got a few masts in the garden, and the main tower is the 80-foot Eltron. The antenna is a 9-element Force 12 antenna. It's a bit of a monster. And I got some wires in the garden going off for standoff brackets from the tower to the other masts in the garden. I got a flagpole in the garden, which is also a 10-meter vertical. So yeah, you could say a bit of an antenna farm here, but not on the scale of things that you guys over in the States do, because you got I guess you got more land. Anyway, put it back to you for a final. I'm going to make this my final before I go to bed. From G0SEC, go ahead.
Very good, James. Well, thanks for that. I appreciate it. I'll look it up on QRZ. It sounds like a fabulous station. Yeah, mine is not so fancy. My antenna is just a 5BTV trap vertical, so nothing to speak of. Not like your Force 12, which is amazingly good antenna, certainly compared to what I've got. And kind of similar. I don't have a 7800. I have a 7600 and a K3, and you know, it's more radio than antenna, but I really can't put up a very big antenna, so that's kind of have to make do with that. Anyway, I'll let you run. It's been a pleasure, and thank you so much for coming back to me, and have a good evening. Hopefully we'll talk again here on Dstar G0SEC KJ6VU. Good night.
Yeah, KJ6VU, G0SEC. And yeah, nice to speak to you, and I'm looking forward to working you again. And I'll definitely email, drop that email to, I've forgotten his name now. The trouble is I'm 47 in 2 days time, and the memory's just getting worse and worse. I have to write everything down nowadays. 7-3 to you, and I look forward to working again. From G0SEC off and clear. Bye bye.
Tier 73, KJ60.
So there's a quick contact with a couple of guys in California on my little ID51. Fantastic. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope I didn't bore you too much.